The storm arrived like a monster rising from the sea. One moment, the sky was bright and blue. The next, black clouds swallowed the horizon, waves crashed like mountains, and the small charter boat carrying us across the Pacific was fighting for its life. The captain screamed orders that vanished into the roar of the wind. Rain hit us so hard it felt like stones against our skin. I thought I was going to die. When the boat finally shattered against hidden rocks, the ocean dragged us into darkness. I remember swallowing seawater, fighting to breathe, and praying for one more chance. Then everything went black. Before we begin, if you believe kindness can change lives and that everyone deserves a second chance, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Legacy. Your support helps us bring more emotional stories to people around the world. When I opened my eyes again, sunlight was warming my face. For several seconds, I couldn't understand where I was. The sound of crashing waves echoed nearby. My body ached, sand clung to my clothes. The wreckage of the boat was scattered along a deserted shoreline. I was alive. Slowly, I pushed myself upright and looked around. The island was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Tall palm trees swayed in the breeze. Dense jungle covered the hills. Endless ocean surrounded us in every direction. Then I noticed someone lying several yards away. A woman. She was unconscious but breathing. I rushed toward her. Her name was Celeste. At least that was what I learned several hours later after she finally woke up beneath the shade of a palm tree. She looked exhausted and frightened. Her blonde hair was tangled from the storm, and her face carried the shock of someone whose entire world had changed overnight. We were strangers. Two people from completely different lives suddenly trapped together on an island that didn't appear on any map we recognized. The first few days were brutal. Survival became our only goal. We searched for fresh water. We gathered coconuts. We built a crude shelter using driftwood and palm leaves. Every night strange sounds emerged from the jungle, reminding us how vulnerable we really were. The island was beautiful during the day but terrifying after sunset. I had always considered myself independent, but isolation changes people. The endless silence, the uncertainty, and the constant fear slowly began to wear us down. Celeste struggled the most. She had never experienced anything like this. Back in her normal life, she worked in marketing for a luxury travel company. Her days involved meetings, hotels, and airports, not searching for food in a jungle. Many nights I could hear her crying softly while pretending she was asleep. I never mentioned it. Instead, I focused on helping us survive. Weeks passed. No rescue ships appeared. No airplanes crossed overhead. Hope became harder to hold onto. One afternoon, while exploring the far side of the island, we climbed a rocky cliff overlooking the ocean. The view stretched endlessly across the horizon. Celeste stood beside me, staring into the distance. The wind moved through her hair as tears filled her eyes. For a long time neither of us spoke. Then she finally admitted what we were both thinking. Maybe nobody was coming. Maybe the world had already forgotten us. That realization hit harder than the storm itself. That night, rain hammered our shelter. Lightning illuminated the beach. Thunder shook the island. Neither of us could sleep. Fear has a strange way of breaking down walls. People stop pretending. They stop hiding behind masks. They become honest. As the storm raged outside, Celeste opened up about her life. She spoke about a marriage that had ended years earlier. She described how loneliness followed her everywhere despite being surrounded by people. She talked about chasing success, money, and approval while feeling empty inside. Listening to her, I realized something. She wasn't afraid of dying. She was afraid of having lived without truly being loved. The following morning brought clear skies. Something between us had changed. We were still strangers in many ways, but we had become companions. Partners. A team. Together we improved our shelter. Together we searched for food. Together we explored every corner of the island looking for signs of rescue. The days slowly became easier. Not because our situation improved. Because we stopped facing it alone. One evening, nearly 2 months after the shipwreck, we sat watching the sunset. The sky burned with shades of orange and gold. The ocean reflected the colors like liquid fire. It was one of the most beautiful things I had ever seen. Celeste sat quietly beside me. Her voice was almost a whisper. She said she had spent her entire life trying to appear strong. Trying to prove she didn't need anyone. Trying to convince herself that independence meant never relying on another person. Then she looked at me. Her eyes reflected the fading sunlight. There was vulnerability there, raw honesty, the kind people rarely show. She said she was tired of pretending. She said that despite everything she had accomplished in life, she felt more human on that island than she ever had before. Then she spoke the words that stayed with me forever. She said, "I'm just a woman, and you're what I need." For a moment, time seemed to stop. Not because the words were romantic. Because they were real. Those words weren't about weakness. They were about trust. They were about admitting that human beings aren't meant to face life alone. I didn't know what to say. So I simply held her hand. And somehow that was enough. The months that followed tested us in ways we never imagined. A tropical storm destroyed part of our shelter. Food became scarce during certain weeks. Infection nearly took my life after a deep cut became badly swollen. During those dark days, Celeste refused to leave my side. She cared for me when I couldn't stand. She found water. She gathered food. She stayed awake through long nights making sure my fever didn't get worse. I remember waking up one morning, weak and exhausted, and seeing her sitting beside me. She looked more tired than I did. Yet she smiled. That smile carried more love than words ever could. For the first time in years, I understood something important. Strength isn't about carrying everything yourself. Strength is allowing someone else to carry you when you can no longer stand. Eventually I recovered, and life on the island continued. We built a better shelter. We planted small gardens. We created routines. Somehow, a place that once felt like a prison slowly began feeling like a home. Yet deep down, neither of us stopped hoping for rescue. Every sunrise brought possibility. Every distant sound made us look toward the horizon. Every passing cloud triggered hope. Then one morning it finally happened. I was gathering driftwood along the beach when I noticed something unusual. A shape, far away, barely visible against the horizon. At first I thought I was imagining it. Then I saw movement. A ship. My heart nearly exploded. I ran faster than I had ever run before. Celeste saw my expression before I even spoke. Together we raced toward the highest cliff. We lit the emergency signal fire we had maintained for months. Smoke rose into the sky. For several agonizing minutes, nothing happened. The ship continued moving. It seemed ready to disappear. Then suddenly it changed direction. Toward us. Toward the island. Toward hope. Celeste collapsed into tears. I wrapped my arms around her. Neither of us could believe it. After months of isolation, rescue had finally arrived. The crew found us later that afternoon. Medical teams examined us. Fresh food was brought aboard. Warm blankets replaced our handmade shelter. Everything felt unreal. Yet as the island disappeared behind us, a strange sadness filled my heart. That island had taken everything from us. But it had also given us something priceless. Perspective, purpose, connection. Back in civilization, life moved quickly. News reporters wanted interviews. Family members celebrated our return. Everyone expected us to simply continue where we had left off. But neither of us were the same people anymore. The storm had changed us. The island had changed us. And most importantly, we had changed each other. Months later, Celeste and I stood together on another beach. This time there was no storm. No fear. No uncertainty. Only peace. The ocean stretched endlessly before us. The same ocean that had nearly killed us. The same ocean that had brought us together. She smiled as the sunset painted the horizon gold. I realized then that survival wasn't the greatest gift we had received. The greatest gift was discovering that even in the darkest circumstances, human connection can become a light powerful enough to guide us home. And maybe that's what life is really about. Not wealth, not status, not success, but finding people who stay beside us when the storm arrives. People who help us carry our burdens. People who remind us that we are never truly alone. If this story has touched your heart so far, please take a moment to like, share, and comment. Stories like these remind us how important kindness, compassion, and human connection truly are. Special request. Comment below with the word, hope, if you believe the right person can completely change someone's life. As the sun disappeared beyond the horizon, Celeste squeezed my hand and smiled. The island was gone, the storm was over, but the lesson remained. Sometimes life strips away everything we think we need so we can discover what truly matters. And sometimes, in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by endless ocean and impossible odds, two broken strangers find exactly what they've been searching for all along. Not rescue, not escape, each other, and that made all the difference. Heart.